What up, YouTube? Welcome back to another reaction video. Today, we are reacting to If Clunkiness Was an Operator by Storn. This video will be linked down below, by the way, so go leave it a like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below that you saw their video through me. This one is about Thorns Alter, if not mistaken. Apparently, he doesn't seem very happy with it. I've heard a bit of mixed bag opinions on Thorns. He seems cool, he seems whatever. It's a bit of a mixed bag really on Thorns. But let's see. I actually did pull on his banner. I did 40 pulls, and I didn't get him. I got Viviana instead, but that's fine because I did another 10 pull, and I got Ray and Lee on the same 10 pull. Goated me. But yeah, if you want to watch these live with us, just join us at twitch.tv/RayConnect or here on YouTube. I go basically live every single day at 3 p.m. GMT +1. And if you want to suggest me videos for me to watch, just join the Discord because there's a specific channel where you can link me the content there. And also subscribe because most of you are not subscribed, and subscribing to the channel basically tells YouTube to keep recommending my my content, and also leave a like on it. Okay, let's get into the video.
Oh, okay. Go.
Okay, that's a dead core on one-shotted.
Thorns the Lodestar is the first 6-star alchemist in the game, and with the only other operator in this archetype being a 5-star, that meant he had a lot of room to improve on what Teamman already did, and to see if they succeeded in doing that, we need to delve into his kit. But first, I wanted to look at Thorns. Look at his 4K 90 FPS face. Do you know how this is possible? Well, it's thanks to today's sponsor, LD Player.
Hey, I really use LD Player.
High quality footage on my videos, especially for sections where I want to zoom in and move the camera around. And LD Player makes it very easy.
I don't have many complaints about LD Player.
All you need to do is go to settings.
Although I wish they had
the resolution to customize
a specific PC client
section,
for
or you can
but
then
that's whatever.
any value you want, 3840 by 2160 in my case, and you
My
can
PC
even
could not
set the
handle that.
FPS to above 60 if you want to. Then, after a simpler set, it's all done, and you can enjoy high-quality Arcanites. So why settle with watching Crown Slayer be broken at low quality when you can see her wreak havoc in all of her 4K 120 FPS glory, especially when it's all free? All you need to do is use my referral link in the description, and when LD Player is installed, simply search Arcanites on the search bar. Then, after installing it, you're good to go. Again, this is something I really need to get high quality footage, something you'll be able to see in this video since all the footage used here was recorded with LD Player. So thanks LD Player for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to Thorns. Starting of course with S1.
I actually don't really know much what he does. All I know is that alchemists throw stuff on the floor and then it can damage enemies and buff your allies.
It's a simple skill, but also a quite good one, as it effectively turns him into a medic. During S1, Thorns will start throwing his alchemic units on your ops, and considering it only costs 5 SP, he'll be spamming them. After he lands, this 3x3 field appears that gives your allies plus 100 defense and continuously heals them by 20% of Thorns' attack every second for 8 seconds.
That doesn't seem that bad.
The best part is that the field
also, he's using
stack,
Pepe.
which further increases both the heal and the defense buff your team gets. This also isn't the green number type of healing, so S1 can heal Amity ops, allowing you to pair him with literally anyone.
What's enmity? Is it you can't heal them?
When you want. All that is made even better when you look at his talent one. Not only it buffs his attack to heal more, but it
so
also
it can heal like Mudrock and Penance
by 3 seconds on other ops in range, which should always happen with S1 since you're using him as a healer. In fact, it happens on all of his skills, making this a very important part of Thorns' kit. So just by using this skill as intended, you're already triggering this talent. But how good is he as a healer? All things considered, he's surprisingly great at it. On screen right now you can see very sped up clear where his solo sustain H5-4, which is a map that constantly damages you. But because this one increases everyone's defense and gives an AoE heal, Thorns is able to just do his thing and protect your ops from the ballistas, while also managing to shield Deck and Brecker from fast shots, which results in an easy AFK clear. And not even other great healers like Nightingale for instance can do that, since she just can't keep up with the purple shots. I know that her best use is to make your team immune to arts damage, so using her on a purely physical damage scenario is not exactly fair, but I also believe that this shows how good S1 is in the right
Sisura would have out-healed that. I'm
compare
kidding,
it
I
to
don't
the
know.
more
I don't have
general
Sisura
medics
yet.
like Aya, the result is still in his favor. That's because even though she can keep up with the ballista spam, the high damage hits end up being too much to deal with. But come on, what's the catch here? They wouldn't just make him better than normal medics, right? Indeed, it's not that simple, and we do need to talk about S1's downsides. The first one being the range of his alchemic units. Now, as I said before, he will heal every ally inside of that 3x3 square, but it's still a 3x3 square. So whenever you have to split your ops too far apart, he struggles to keep up.
Well, that's, I guess, then don't use them on places where you don't stack them, I
Something
guess,
that
right?
normal medics can deal with a lot more easily. Another thing is his targeting. Like I said before, Thorns will always throw his units when S1 charges, and if everyone in range has full HP, he prioritizes the last deployed, which in
Oh, he
this
doesn't
clip is
save it?
Pepe. But that makes so he can waste charges on someone who doesn't need it, causing other ops who actually need it more to die just because at the moment he threw them they weren't hurt yet. So while this skill does have a lot of good stuff in it, it also has clunkiness. Yes, Storms can solo heal your team under a lot of pressure. Yes, he can heal enemy units. Yes, he can even buff the defense of every op he heals and it all stacks. But he also can't deal well with your team being too spread out. His heals only come out on 5-second intervals, and
I mean, this might be dumb of me asking, but at that point, why are you know the map? Why are you even queuing Alchemist Thorns, right? Not even just in the sense of like he's not good at separated, right? Also, probably you're already running a second medic, right? If not mistaken, most teams have a second medic, right? So maybe it's just because I'm dumb and I'm new, but just don't queue him then. I know, right? I don't know if that's like being like dumb, right? Because I'm talking like a lot of the times your teams will be somewhat stacked in my for what I've seen. So it feels like, yeah, I guess in niche maps where you are split into two lanes, you are not as well safeguarded.
the targeting can really mess up your formation at the worst.
And I'm pretty sure that the skills can help with
It
this.
is a good skill, but most people would still prefer.
Not
the
very useful
comfort
at this
of
very
normal
moment, but
medics
maybe
in
future events will
general.
need them.
If you're willing
Does he okay, also sorry, Storn, I keep interrupting your video. Doesn't he have like a very niche thing? Was it hemmed with elementary heal? Or was that who was it? Who am I thinking that has elemental injury healing? Was it him? I remember he has like a niche thing, but I can't remember if it is him.
to put
I might
in
be
more
confusing
work,
him.
though this
I'm
can
sleep deprived,
definitely
okay?
be a solid choice.
Oh, it's Lumen. God damn it. Different Iberian man.
Like, this is a pretty solid skill. I don't see anything wrong with it. Just keep spamming it, then big balls. Yeah.
S2?
Except maybe when it's.
Why is it going off map?
For no reason.
Don't worry. Pep is here.
Goat! The Pepe the goat!
Or Thorns will hurt her.
If you can't remember
Which
it's a
brings
bad
us to
operator,
Thorns'
I'm also
best
like
skill,
dumb as hell.
Deconstructing Surge.
Damn, that's a big ass range. And that's a lot of damage. What the fuck? Wait, it's up
There
already?
are a lot of words here, but this one is actually quite simple to explain.
And it heals?
When he uses S2, Thorns will throw his alchemical units on the ground. After that, they'll keep moving forward towards the direction he threw
That felt like a
them to.
lot of
And while
damage.
they do that, their range will keep expanding until it eventually fades. Enemies inside this range will continuously take damage while friendly units get healed.
And like that seems
It
like a
turns
very
into
low
a
SP
hybrid
cost as
between
well.
healer and damage dealer, basically. And the best part of it is this obscenely huge
Yeah,
area
look
the
at
units
that.
can cover. Thorns can easily cover entire sections of a map with just one of them. And the
You can
damage
throw
is enough
multiple?
to melt any trash mob they come across, while also being great at dealing with some elites too. That hybrid role is also further emphasized by talent 2, since it buffs allies
And it
attack
buffs
speed
attack
while also
speed?
debuffing enemies by the same amount. So now you get to enjoy having your ops attack 5% faster and enemies 5% slower. And no, I'm not joking here, the value is actually 5%, which is not 0, I guess.
I mean, it gets doubled in a straight line for what it said.
There is a way to double that value, but it's so ridiculously funny. I almost don't want to say it to save him from the embarrassment. Do you know these shiny tiles that appear whenever you deploy him? Well, they aren't just for decoration.
Oh, it's
Their
even-
purpose is to show which tiles on the map will double the talent effect.
Oh, I
But
thought it's-
how do they decide that? You see,
That doesn't seem... I thought it would be worse. I unironically thought it would be straight lines based off of his position, not on in general. Okay, that doesn't seem as bad as I thought.
if a column or row is part of a straight line of 6 or more tiles, then it counts. Take this map for instance. Why does this column trigger talent 2, but this one doesn't?
Because it has a high
It's
ground, no?
because the right one has 6 consecutive ground tiles, while the left one gets cut by a ranged one in the middle of it. My god, so stupid. And there's only
That doesn't feel that dumb. That feels like reasonable. I mean, even if even with the one that I thought, like even with the version I thought it was, I wouldn't still be that bad because you can basically use them as like a Ifrit lane for debuff, right? For the slowdown. So it doesn't seem that bad.
it works on ground tiles. As you can see, the ranged ones don't get marked even with their
I mean, what? I mean, yeah, I guess you would want them to buff attack speed from ranged characters, but still, you're still buffing your melee characters.
There are 6 of them. This is quite literally the worst, the most specific
Isn't there literally conditions that are based off sleep? I don't know about the worst condition. Like, there's conditions about sleeping targets.
condition I've ever seen for a talent in this game. Not only it's 100% map reliant, but the upgrade, if you can even call it that, is so minuscule you can't even notice it. It feels like they just put it there cause he's supposed to buff and debuff, but the values are so small they might as well not even be there.
I mean, it depends on how... Okay, I'm interrupting again. I'm sorry, comment section. You feel free to yell at me if I'm pausing too much. But, like, isn't... Like, 10% can really stack up once you add other buffs on top of it, right? Depending on how it calculates, right? If it's multiplicative or additive, right? So, like, 10% at the slowdown doesn't seem that bad, especially since he's already adding other stuff, right?
There, to be honest.
Hey,
Back
also,
to
the condition
S2 though,
doesn't
you
seem
might
the
think
worst
the damage
one.
and range is all that matters, and yes, those are the best parts of the skill, but we still need to discuss its healing. As you can see, it does a good job at keeping your ops alive, but it's not very good at dealing with hard-hitting enemies. Especially when you compare it to the more single-target focused heal.
I'm sorry, Storn, but this feels like an idiotic comparison. Yeah, it's like, yo, my Gavial is doing more single target healing than my the applesauce, right? Like, this feels like a little silly to compare them. They have different roles, right? So you know, that feels a bit silly to compare.
Healers. The problem here is not really the healing itself, though. It's actually the same one you'll find in his S1, the targeting. When there are no enemies in range, Thorns will always launch S2 forward. That means that it's impossible for him to heal ops that are not in that area. They'll instead just sit there, inches away from getting healed. And it's not just that. Even if there are enemies close to heal want to heal, there's still this issue.
よし妥当なデータ早速演算してみよう
何を片付ければいい
In this clip, the ball kept getting further away from Pepe, and since the range expansion can't keep up with its distance, she only gets healed much later after he activated S2. Which...
But okay, wouldn't the fix be okay? Just throw it when he's closer to Pepe. Again, like no hate, but this might be because I am stupid and I am a new Archnight's player. But wouldn't you just wait for the enemy to get closer, then throw it, so you avoid having this issue. Right? I don't know. Porcupine, valid. But like, I don't know. Maybe I am being a bit silly. Maybe I am.
Shows the biggest issue here. S2
That's
is
valid,
not
Chris.
good
That's
at
valid.
providing healing
Big
when
contribution.
things don't line up well. And there are cases where it's simply impossible for you to work around it. On these moments, all you can do is sit back and watch someone die. It's like I said, the same issue S1 has, clunkiness. When it works,
I feel like a lot of this clunkiness is not exactly clunkiness, but like areas of expertise that the character is better at versus the character is not good at. It's like saying, oh, Ifrit is not good because there's barely any single target long lanes. Yeah, but that's fine because on the maps that do have that, she is the perfect, like most perfect character you could ever ask for, right? I feel like it's not exactly the clunkiness that makes the characters bad in this current sense, where, oh, S2 is not really going where I wanted to do, or S1 is not good at separated healing, but more of a, dude, this shit is so good when I have a map that is all for stacked teammates, I'm gonna put my Thorns here instead of like a usual healer because he's doing so much here compared to the normal healer. Versus like, just, I can pick a more generic option to avoid this issue, right? I don't know if I'm explaining it well. I'm sleep deprived. I only slept like 2 hours, okay? And I skipped lunch. Like, in this moment, like this very issue here, at this very moment, what am I, when he had Pepe, isn't the play just wait a bit because S2 is not auto-triggered? Its talent, sure, you can complain it's like doesn't have much of an effect, but it's still a cool condition. Like, there's worse conditions for sure, in my opinion, like a sleeping one. I don't remember who has it. I don't know if it's Errado or anyone else. But, like, this feels, like, cool enough. Like, the effect looks cool. The condition seems interesting. Benefits longer maps, right? And the abilities feels like a more of a, press it when they're closer to your targets instead of just throwing it immediately.
works amazingly.
Also,
but
high
it can
choice.
also let you down when you need it most. As far as damage and area covered are concerned though, S2 is really good. And as a bonus you even get a debuff too. That's right, whenever enemies are inside S2's range, their healing is reduced by 50%.
The thing with the first skill is just throws it on himself so you have no control. S2 is huge range, you might want to throw it somewhere where it covers more enemies, but targeting is meh. I mean, but you have to, sure, you can say, oh, targeting is always a bit scuffed, therefore the ability is not as consistent. Sure, I'll accept that, but so, at least on the clip that he sent me, that he posted here, right? The Pepe one, where he threw it and then Pepe was a bit too far away, right? Like, wasn't the issue there that he threw it too early? Again, take any of my opinions with a huge amount of grains of salt, because I am dumb and I barely know how to play the game. But just wait a bit more, and then you don't have to worry about going out of range of your Pepe. But again, like I said, I'm dumb. I'm just a dumb React streamer that plays Arknights and not that well.
Which is like Logos as 3D leading projectiles levels of usefulness. But hey, every once in a while my Logos manages to delete a boss attack. So maybe you will find an enemy that you want to reduce their healing, like the whip guys from chapter 13. It's just that most of the time you won't even notice.
Because Pepe is cute and a Nami character, so based. That's what I like about this video.
That covers massive
He uses
areas
Pepe
and allows Thorns to effectively clear huge chunks of enemies. It does have quite a bit of clunkiness when it comes to the healing, but even that can still work really well under the right circumstances. And it doesn't really affect the other great parts of the skill.
I got Thorns Alter? No. I lost to my role to Viviana. Although I'm starting to want it. Mostly because of the S2 looks cool as shit. Okay, let's look at S3.
What is he doing there?
Yeah, look at it. Look at all this.
Yeah, it must be good, right?
I'm not comparing him to Ifrit in the sense of like solving stages by himself. I'm comparing Ifrit on the conditions of Ifrit. right? Having a good set of lanes, because technically Ifrit only covers one lane, right? But he technically covers any 6+ range lane, right?
That seems like maybe he's buffing himself, like a mini starter for Hob.
You'll see, you'll see.
Only I can read Chinese.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm prepared to DMA. Let's go. Okay. Better it?
Huh.
数値は合ってるか何か違う
Nothing's happened.
What?
Finally then, we arrive at his last skill, My Sea Coast.
今は一人にして関心は正常深層現実異常なし
Cool. I mean, he's kind of bleeding picture.
Again, it's a
Half
text
HP.
wall, but unlike S2, this one is actually quite complex, and it's not even because of this jumble of numbers here. In fact, I can explain this part very easily. Enemies between his alchemic units will take an arts dot, get minus 35% defense.
Yeah, I'll read it. Passive attack range expands, that's normal. Throws alchemical units towards 4 operators with the lowest block, and causing enemies in the surrounding areas to have minus 15 attack, 35 defense, minus 35 res. That's a pretty good solid amount. It takes 210% attack as arts damage every second for 23 seconds. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of attack. In fact, increase over time, reaching a maximum of 15 seconds. Attack minus 30, minus 50 defense, minus 50 res, and damage over time with 380. Goddamn.
Because of this jumble of numbers here. In fact, I can explain this part very easily. Enemies between his alchemic units will take an arts dot, get minus 35% defense and res, as well as minus 15% attack. All of these effects get gradually stronger until by the end they'll deal 380% of his attack as dot, minus 50% defense and res, and debuff their attack by minus 30%. It's when we get to these parts of S3 that things start to get interesting though. Normally Thorns' range can only reach this far. It's not bad by any means, since both S1 and S2 can work perfectly fine with it. But S3 improves it even further and lets Thorns have this range passively, which is a massive upgrade. And S3 really can make good use of it because he needs other ops to work, which is our next topic here. The way his targeting works here is by selecting 4 ops in
That's an
range
interesting
and throwing the units on those ops, prioritizing ones with less block count, which can include himself. Just from this we can see both the great and the bad about S3. If you make full use of the range, it can cover a huge portion of the map, basically creating a death zone for any trash mobs while also debuffing and shredding any elites in that area. It can also assist other ops.
So it's so I mean, a way you could consistently get it is him plus 3 fast redeploys.
to deal with bosses by both debuffing and dealing damage with the alchemic units themselves. Not requiring the 4 ops to work also means you can do a simple setup with 2 or even one other operator besides Storns to manage big waves. The issues with these are quite self-evident when you think about it though. Take this clip for instance. Sure, S3 is shredding every enemy in here, but look at all the setup he needed. Not only I had to deploy 3 other ops, but I also needed to make sure they're all on the correct tiles. All that just to get a worse result than if I simply had used one of them alone.
Oh, but that's when you complain about the damage numbers, not about the setup, right? But sure. Oh, some liners kind of just busted by himself.
It just made even worse when you consider it's a 60 SP skill. Now, it's not that bad, since he starts charging it back immediately after using S3, meaning you'll get a lot of it back before the effects are over. But S3 lasts for 25 seconds, so you still need to wait for 35 more seconds after that, which is something his module tackles. It makes so Thorns gets plus 0.1 SP per second when an alchemical unit's on field. And it also upgrades his talents to extend the duration by 4 seconds instead of 3 seconds when there are.
I mean, yeah, the fact that it's not doesn't have a good amount of uptime, yeah, I can see that being an issue. I mean, especially because for what we see, S1 and S2 just have a permanent uptime, right? They have 100% uptime. So, yeah, his S3 is definitely the weakest part of his kit, in my opinion. Also, when going back to the Ifrit thing. Again, the thing with Ifrit is you have to place her on that tile to benefit of that lane. He can be in any tile, and as long as the lane is 6 range, he'll still mark that lane to get -10, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Like, his condition is not as strong as the Ifrit, sure, but what I'm saying is that he doesn't need to be on that specific tile to benefit only on that specific lane. As long as any lane is 6 lanes or is 6 range, they're on this debuff range, right?
There are other ops in his range, as well as increasing his attack.
Just need
more.
one tile.
This mod is actually
what I
quite
mean,
good for S1, since it makes so he can always stack
I'm not
two
talking about the
shards and
deep
have
part of
no
just
downtime.
Ifrit, right? I'm talking about also the range.
She'll always be spamming the shit out of it. And it also only has a 20 SP cost, so he can always benefit from
Also,
more
Ifrit
SP.
doesn't heal.
As you can imagine,
As far as
though,
I'm
that
aware.
doesn't really do much for S3. I mean, don't take me wrong, 4 more SP is 4 more SP. But you're still gonna have to wait a long ass time.
But I do
to
agree,
use
his
it
S3
again.
is definitely
so
weak.
What are good situations to use Thorns S3 in? Well, it's good when you want both the damage and the debuffs, because Thorns is not a good debuffer. You might look at his numbers and disagree because they are pretty high.
I mean, 50
but
res,
let me
50
ask you something
defense.
to show you what I mean by that. Who's the better debuffer,
Well,
Shamir or Promenix? The universal consensus is that Shamir clears the floor with Prem, and that's despite the fact that Prem not only has a bigger defense
I mean, it's just
debuff,
easier to
but
use,
she can
right?
also debuff res, while Shamir only does it to defense. The reason for that is that Shamir is 1,000 times more convenient than Prem, all thanks to her doll. This is why I don't think he's a good debuffer on S3.
Yeah, valid. His S3 does
CLUNKY
definitely
is.
feel weak.
And unlike S2, you can't just ignore it because it mostly affects the weakest portion of the skill. Here, both the debuffing and the damage require you navigate through it, so if you're not using both of them, S3
I mean,
really
I feel
isn't
like-
worth the effort.
I feel like you just QS2 on like high AoE, like big maps, and then you go S1 for when you want to group up your allies.
Take this clip for instance. The AoE damage is taking care of all elite and trash mobs, while it both hits and debuffs the boss at the same time for Exu. So this is a good use of S3, but it does take a lot of setup. While most of the time you can get a better result with a lot less investment. And this is Thorns The Lodestar. He's quite literally everything, from a healer to a buffer to a wave clearer and even an elite killer. He does have that bit of clunkiness in every one of his skills. Okay, he does
Thank
have
you for
a lot
following
of it on
Arknights Boss.
S3.
Thank you, thank you,
But
thank you.
You can usually ignore it on both S1 and S3 and get a good result. As for S3, there is a very simple solution, which is to just never use it, to plan your
Yeah.
runs very well around it, so you can use
Yeah.
this phenomenal skill. This is just my opinion though, so comment what you think of him. Leave a like and subscribe too while you're at it, and if you wanna know how I rank him relative to other future ops, go watch this video. That's it then, bye.
痛快な勝利だ
I mean, overall, I don't think again, I'm dumb. Do not hear me. I am not good for this type of opinions. I am not good at the game. S1 feels like, okay, just don't use them on maps that will make you not be able to stack. Sure, I guess if you're on IS, you don't have much control on that. But at that point, why are you using him in IS? But like, just play them on maps that you can stack. On S2, in wave clearing maps, right? You just good AoE clear maps. It reminds me of the IS3 map, I think, that has that like 4-lane thing, right? So his S2 just clears them out, and you probably don't even need anything else. Thorns Alter is just too situational to use. I wouldn't even say situational. I feel like there's way more niche characters than Thorns Alter for what I see from this video, right? I feel like he can still have a very good usage. If you're doing like a fortress, like stack by the blue box kind of thing, S1 seems pretty fucking good. A defense buff with a good AoE healing, you can't really go wrong with that. If you want a wave clear with a good amount of size, S2, queue it up. Don't use S3 by what it seems. It's a bit too much of an ass, like to deal with. But you know, just use that one instead. Like use S2 more than likely in every situation over the S3, right? I think on the contrary, he's not situational. You can use him all the time because he's so generalist. Sure, that is a way to see it. But I'm thinking instead of like for average usage, I'm thinking like where to like maximize his like power. When I think of like maximizing his power, I think, oh, use maps that you're stacking or maps that you have big wave clears. Sure, you can still probably use them on like basic like separated maps because let's be honest, most of the time people are using double healer, right? So just queue him with another healer that can deal with the separation ones, and then use them as a good AoE clear with some healing on the side, right? And if you're willing to use S3 somehow, and you have some damage shred there, if you don't have like Shamir for some reason, right? For example, I don't have Susuro. She's a 4-star. I've done over 300 something pulls. I have no Susuro. I tried to do a Susuro pull. I got Viviana instead. I tried to get Susuro again. I got Ray and Lee. Again, sometimes you just don't have the character for that, so you can use them as like a separate, like a side grade. So that doesn't seem bad at all. Like, and when it comes to the aiming part, the S2 aiming part that Storn was talking about here felt a bit. How do I say it? Like, it felt like he was putting an issue there when, okay, again, he probably is way much better player than me. That S2 part felt a bit of a skill issue part, right? Just wait like 2 more seconds for the enemy to get too close to your Pepe and she will always be in it there. But, right. That's just me. Guys, I'll be leaving the link down below again. So leave a like, leave a comment on it, on the video saying that I sent you. If you agree with me, also comment on my video. And if you agree with the stuff that I'm saying, or if you disagree and that I'm just a dumbass and I shouldn't be talking about. Also, like the video, and hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you have a good morning, a good evening, a good afternoon, or a good night, whatever that might be. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye-bye!